Okay, guys, welcome back to part two, Nikki's diary and helpful hints. I can't talk, people. Helpful tips and hints on things to do while you're going through chemo. So, when we left off, I was talking about foods tasting different, foods that you've always liked and always enjoyed, and then now you're on chemo, or now you're receiving chemotherapy treatments, and you're trying to eat, and this food that you've been eating doesn't taste right, doesn't taste good. I've always been a big fruit person, y'all. I love apples. I'm on chemo. I'm gonna have an apple. Apple tastes horrible. It doesn't taste like an apple. It didn't have a taste. I don't know how to explain it to y'all. It just didn't taste like an apple. It's almost like biting into a piece of fruit. You expect that fruit to be sweet, and it's just bland. I couldn't have a bowl of cereal. Why? Because milk tasted like I had hair in my throat. Hair. So that's a really funny thing. Before I explain why that is, let me tell you, oatmeal was another thing. I wasn't always an oatmeal person growing up. I pretty much didn't like any hot cereals, cold cereals, none of that type of stuff when I was a kid. So eventually, later on as an adult, I took a liking to oatmeal. And during chemo, I tried to have some oatmeal because, I was always nauseous and I'm just trying to keep something down in my stomach. And we make some oatmeal, and the oatmeal tastes like cardboard. I mean, literally, like I bit off a piece of a box. And I was destroyed. I was so upset. And at the time when it first was happening, like I said, I'm eating these things are not tasting right. I don't understand it. Why is this happening? I don't get it. And then it hit. I went to use a straw one day and drink out of a regular plastic straw, and I couldn't. The liquid in my mouth didn't taste right. I couldn't eat off of plastic spoons. I had to use metal for a while. The metal didn't taste right. When the thing happened with the plastic straw and I didn't like the way that tastes, I went to using metal straws. My sister sent me a pack of metal straws. That worked for a while. That was great. It's just amazing how the body changes from medication, what medication can do to the body, rather, because it's not your body doing this on your own. These are all side effects from these medications. And the hairy feeling in my throat, you all, that comes from a condition called tylism. Tylism. It is spelled P like Paul, Tyalism. Tylism. And what tylism is just hypersalivation. So it's an excess of saliva being produced in the mouth. And when I say an excess of saliva being produced in the mouth, I mean an excess of saliva being produced in the mouth, guys. Saliva in your mouth, you're sitting there, and it's just like, you can feel it pulling, and it's just, and now your mouth is full of saliva, and you spit it out, and it's right back, and you spit it out, and it's right back. And I mean, I'll say this, it is caused by a few things can make it happen. Hormones can do it, anxiety can do it, your oral health can do it. Let me see my notes. Your nausea can bring it on, okay? And like I told you all before, some of what I was experiencing through chemo with the nausea and the vomiting is the same thing I experienced while I was pregnant with my two children. And the tylism, I was very familiar with it when I started going through it with chemo, because I went through it with both of my pregnancies. The hormones, and with me, it's a hormone thing. And when I experienced it through pregnancy, I was never offered anything to really help to stop it. They told me to try to chew gum and, you know, eat some mints or whatever, brush my teeth. I did those things, and those things didn't help. It was even hard for me to brush my teeth while I was pregnant because I kept throwing up. Same thing while I was going through chemo. So they didn't offer me anything while I was pregnant. But when I was going through chemo, I was told the same thing. Spit it out. Brush your teeth. Stay hydrated. Eat small meals. I said candy and gum. I did those things, and they weren't really working. And so my oncologist said, well, you know what? We have something that probably can help. It's called scopolamine. Scopolamine. It's a patch. Put it on the back of your ear. You wear it for 3 days. And then you take it off. And then you put another one on. The opposite ear. I was definitely willing to try it. Tried it. And it worked wonders. So if anybody's ever experiencing that, that's something you can mention to your doctor if the doctor doesn't mention it to you. Hey, how about a scopolamine patch? It does help dry up the saliva. It doesn't... So at first, when I first was using it, it didn't completely stop it. It just was helping to dry it up a lot. So I didn't have so much of it. And then eventually, it kind of drew it all up and it stopped. But because I kept experiencing it for so long, eventually my tongue started to feel like it was curled in my mouth at all times. So when I was speaking, I felt like I was talking with my tongue like that. It wasn't, but that's how it felt in my mouth. I constantly felt like it was hair in the back of my throat. I felt like that when I had the tylism through the pregnancy. So I knew that's what it was I was experiencing when I was going through chemo. It is, I don't know, one of the most horrible things I've ever experienced. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy either. It's a pain. It's a pain in the ass. Let me just say that right out. It's a pain in the ass because you have to continuously do it. I thank God every day for the oncologist. I tell you guys, when I say I had a great team, y'all, I keep telling y'all, I had a great team. They advocated for me. Without the scopolamine, I probably would have went crazy. Saliva stinks. Like, let's just be real. It keeps coming. It keeps coming. It doesn't stop. Thank God for the scopolamine. I hope nobody else ever has to experience that. And if you do, like I said, mention the scopolamine patch to your doctor. The other thing I want to say to you all is please don't forget, if anybody is experiencing neuropathy, please, 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 please tell your doctor. Let the doctors know. If you have a good doctor, once you let them know that you are experiencing it, they're going to continue to check up with you. But if they do not continuously check in with you to ask you, hey, how's the neuropathy? You let them know. I know with my doctor, he stopped my treatment. Your doctor possibly would too, so that it does not become a permanent condition. And it's not something that you want to become permanent. You want that to go away after. I can say thankfully, mine eventually went away. After chemo, I still was experiencing the neuropathy, but it eventually went away. I'm going to say a year later, I was completely not experiencing any tingling, any numbness. Yeah, so pay attention to that. And like I said, guys, advocate for yourself. Because if you don't advocate for yourself, come on, I'm not saying no one else will, but advocate for yourself. And another thing, sometimes we get dryness in the nose. Some people experience that. I didn't have it, but I know some of the people that did experience the dryness in the nose. Aquaphor is a good product to use for that, and a humidifier would also be good. You could use those two things together. They would work well together for that dryness. Aquaphor is also good. I'll talk about it later on for anybody that has to get radiation, as I did, because it dries out your skin. So Aquaphor is good. They even make a spray Aquaphor. Hold on, guys. And as y'all see, my little mat behind me here keeps falling. But they make a spray Aquaphor. So you can always just, it's cool, it feels good, and it helps with the dryness and the itching also. So this is a really, really good product. So that's it for this week, and I'll be back again. It won't be a month. Like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you guys again soon. Later.